Hey everyone, I hope everyone had a lovely holiday and New Year's. My name is Corey Atkins. I'm the Vice President of Public Policy with the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to our newest edition of Coffee with Corey. I'm graciously joined today with my friend here, Commissioner Al Whitesides, represents District 1 here in Buncombe County. Al, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, it's a pleasure being here. Yeah.
So we're on the eve of MLK Memorial Weekend. You've told me privately before that you've met Dr. King when you were younger, and I would like to hear a little bit about that experience, but also, what this memorial, I don't want to call it a holiday weekend, but I think it's more appropriately named a Memorial Weekend.
I agree, yeah.
What does this mean to you? What does his legacy mean to you personally? And tell us a little bit about that experience for you growing up.
Okay, yeah. I first met him a few days after my 18th birthday in 1962. I was a freshman at Morehouse College in Atlanta, where he graduated from.
Right.
And at the time, my great uncle, Thomas Kilgore, who's from Brevard and graduated from Stevens Lee High School here in Asheville, who was on the board at Morehouse, and he was on for a number of years. Matter of fact, the Kilgore Center is named after him on campus. Mm-hmm. He was one of the original board members of SCLC, and he was speaking at West Hunter Baptist Church on Sunday after Thanksgiving, which was Ralph Abernathy's church. Mm-hmm. So, he was on me about going to church, and that was I'd been there since September, not attended, so I got up, tried to get my roommate to go with me, and he still holds it against me today. He wouldn't go, with me. So I go to church, I'm there, and after church, Uncle Thomas told me that he and Ralph were going to take me out to dinner because it was my birthday. Mm-hmm. And I was in the back of the church waiting on him, and this young man walked up, well-dressed, and he walked up, and he walked over to me, and he said, "You must be a Kilgore." And I said, "No, I'm a Whitesides, but my mom is a Kilgore," and we laughed. Mm-hmm. He said, and stuck his hand out, he said, "I'm Martin King. I'm here to see Brother Tom before," and he was headed to the airport. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning. Yeah, it's the first time I met him, but many times after. But he was such a nice guy, just down to earth and all.
Yeah.
But Uncle Thomas was the treasurer of SCF, the board.
Okay. And so, obviously, a lot happened after 1962,
right,
in regards to the civil rights movement, and Dr. King and gave a pretty famous speech not too long after that, after you met him. So that legacy and what happened during that time, what impact did it have on you personally?
Well, in another conversation after, because Uncle Thomas had stayed with him when he was in college. Mm-hmm. He worked his way through Morehouse. And I was talking to him, and I always remembered that he said, "Little Al," that's what he always called me, he said, you will be fighting for equality for the rest of your life. And think about that. I was 18 then.
Right.
And fast forward today, and when you look at what's going on, he was right. Mm-hmm. But he really inspired a whole generation of us to fight for what was right, to lift poor people up. He at the end, when he fought the industrial military complex, Vietnam War, and I'm a Vietnam veteran, and a lot that he did and he stood for, that stayed with me. Right. And even today, and when I'm working, as a commissioner on some of the issues that we work with, and to help people in the community. And that's one reason I'm active in politics today, because I never did, while I worked. But this gives me a chance to give back to the community and hopefully finish some of the things that Dr. King wanted to see.
Yeah, that's great. And we all commend you for that, certainly. Some of you may notice we're here at Penny Cup on Market Street in the historic YMI Cultural Center building. It's been recently refurbished. I highly recommend people to come down here and check it out sometime if you haven't already, since they've redone it. But let's talk about more specifically the region and locally. Al, give us a little bit. I know you were on the board of this great institution.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the history of this area for African Americans in Asheville, but also the civil rights movement, what impact did it have here locally, and how important was this part of town for African Americans?
Well, when I came up in Asheville, this was the heart of the African American community. Eagle Street, or the block that we call it, this was the business district.
Right.
We had everything from North Carolina Mutual, Winston Mutual, which were black insurance companies. We even had an insurance broker, Walter Lee. All your professionals, several were in this building, doctors, lawyers. They were here in this area. And a lot of people remember Eagle Street or the block in the later years, but I remember it when it was thriving.
Right.
And it goes back, and really the heart of the cultural community of the African Americans is right here at this building, the YMI Cultural Center, which goes back to Vanderbilt when he built the Biltmore House, and a lot of your skilled workers who were African American. This is where they lived. This was the dormitory on the third floor.
Right.
And the Market Street branch of the YMCA was here. And what was really disappointing to me when I came back in '71 with the bank, this building was condemned, at that time, and they had merged the MCAs, and a group of churches, black churches, purchased the building. And what happened, they invited me to a meeting one night that some of the ministers were having, and I, attended. And when I got back home, Shirley said, "How'd the meeting go?" I said, "I'm not sure." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I went in, to see what was going on, but I left chairman of the board." And I
got voluntold,
I stayed
right?
on the board for 10 years, but during that time, we joined Pack Place. We completely renovated the building, and a lot that I'm proud of that we were able to accomplish during that time.
Right.
And today, I'm glad to see it come back.
Right.
And I'm still concerned because it's not where I'd like to see it yet, but I think it's getting there. They have a new board of young people and all.
Yeah.
And I don't want the history of this area to be lost.
Right.
Because it's changed a lot from what it was like all of Asheville.
Yeah.
But I want to see it, stay here.
Yeah, for sure. Al, like you said, you got into politics for a reason. After you finished your professional career, Dr. King's legacy, what we're remembering this weekend, and really all year round, but what's particularly important this weekend is to think about this and reflect on it. But, you say you continue that fight. What can the business community do here in Asheville and Western North Carolina to help continue to diversify our workforce, to be more inclusive, to provide more equitable opportunities across the board of all people of color and ethnicity? And what things are you seeing they're doing really well? What things could we improve upon? And what do you see as the business community's role in all of this?
Well, I think the business community has an important role in all of this, because not only to set the example for the community, but a selfish reason. We need skilled, trained employees. And this is a concern I see, that so many people, young people, leave the area because it's not an opportunity here.
Yeah.
When my daughters, you've heard me say this, graduated from Chapel Hill, I never thought I'd see them back here. But they are. They're with their families. One is administrator for the city schools, and the other's been with Eaton for now, out at Avery's Creek. She's been there, maybe close to 15 years, and is over one of their areas. But, they were trained, and they had skills, and they were able to come back. But so many who are not. And I think it really starts in this community. The problem I see is, and this is where I think the business community has got to get involved, is education. We have got to do a better job K through 12, and the important piece that's missing is our community college. We have an excellent community college facility and all at Buncombe Tech, but I think we've got to up our game there, because when I see that they closed the pre-K training there, that they had, the facility.
Right.
It's a lot that we need to do, and when we go out to bring businesses in, that's important. They look at that.
Sure.
Of course, we got UNCA, Mars Hill, we're excellent university systems, but we've got to start with education and to get people get the jobs so they
Right.
qualify. Because when you look at what plumbers and electricians can make, you don't need a college degree with
Yeah,
that.
it's true.
No, you don't need that.
Line workers for Duke.
Right. That's
Yeah,
it.
welders.
You
Yeah.
can, and this is what I think we've got to concentrate on, because that's the key. If we can get everybody employed on jobs making good money,
Right.
a living wage that they can survive in Asheville, that takes care of affordable housing. That helps us with so many other problems that we have in the area.
Right.
And that's why it's important, but it all goes back, I think, to education. And this is where the businesses have got to be involved. I think we've got to mentor. We've got to go into schools, spend some time to do that. And I've done that. I did it with the bank for years, but not as much now. I don't have the time, unfortunately. But this is what we've got to do. And the chamber has got to take a lead. Like Kit right now, who's on the pre-K
Right.
board, and I see you, all of you, get involved, and that's the key. I think we all, because the old saying, the chain is as strong as its weakest link.
Sure.
And we got to do it. And in this community, what concerns me is when I look at what's going on today, the challenges we have, it's not as much, well, it still is black and white, sure, but it's the have and have-nots.
Yeah.
That's where we have a problem. We've got to change.
Yeah.
If we're going to continue to be successful as a community, where it's tourism, whatever we do, that's the key, though. I think it goes back to education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a great note to end on. I think that Commissioner Whitesides really put it to us. We have to get involved. You have to really step up our game when it comes to education, particularly early education. And we'd like to see more initiatives coming out, more funding go towards those efforts. Our thanks to Penny Cup Coffee on Market Street in the historic YMI building for hosting us here today. As you can see, they're very busy. We'd like to see that continue. Al, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate
anytime.
it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling those stories. It was really interesting, really cool stuff. Everyone have a safe and happy holiday weekend. Once again, I'm Corey Atkins with the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. This has been Coffee with Corey. Thanks for watching.